The author Jonathan Safran in Eating Animal argues that food industries must inform themselves about the food processing system. The writer claims that if one goes to fast food restaurants, or any restaurant in general, the expectations are one while the realistic facts are others. The author in this book is mainly focused on the issue of animal misconduct and the fact that people do not realize how animals are processed to get to our daily meal. Safran claims that animals feel pain just like humans do. Therefore, why should they go through that? However, the author explains that society does a choice, but individuals are the only ones who can make that decision to minimize this issue. The writer claims that the individual should stop animal misconduct in eating animals. The writer describes that some of the abuse of these animals have to go through. Pigs' ears are being cut off, animals are stabbed. This issue is clear to Safran that the factory workers are cruel by doing this type of punishment to the animals. He implies that the animals should just not go through pain like this. Secondly, he also inputs that animals cannot verbally speak for themselves, but we should take advantage of that. And slaughtering animals is not right, because it is not it's an unnecessary treatment. The author presents a fair argument to his audience because he demonstrates that he puts himself in other people's shoes. He sees the world as a vegan activist. He clearly argues why it is wrong in many ways. He proves the facts behind the true treatment to animal warehouses. As he explained, he is diverse in different topics to support his main view on animal misconduct. He shares many stories and experiences that show that he is credible to speak amongst this topic. He also points out possible solutions that can reduce animal killing and the benefits. Overall, his argument is centered by his proof on statistical data and factory resources. Fully 30 to 70% of pigs will have some sort of respiratory infection by the time of slaughter and mortality. Safran states, the writers speak in such informative tone, which is so focused on his argumentative tone, to be fair amongst his audience. Lastly, I agree with his argument because, in fact, the news media does not point out the information because it is a hidden topic from society or it's simply not brought up. As I interviewed many of my peers, they recognized that they were not well informed and want to inform themselves more on the food production. They agree with his argument because they say no animal should ever go through pain. My peers explain that animals will not feel pain if they are killed at once, but humans are just cruel and do unnecessary treatment. In order for us to make a change, we have to be informed and knowledgeable in that aspect in order for the change to happen.
In my research project about the movement of Bernie Sanders, I addressed 4 parts in my essay that explains his central arguments, a brief summary about the lives Bernie Sanders experienced, and his fair arguments about his political views about what people have been wanting to see over time. To end my research paper, I conducted a survey which provides information on whether or not I agreed to his central arguments, which made it easier for me to make a stand on whether or not I should agree on his points. In the book, A Future to Believe In by Bernie Sanders presents his book in chronological order to where he describes from the start of his campaign to the end. He explains his actions towards being president and introduces new people, which were the ones that helped him do everything. The beginning of the campaign, how and where everything started for him, which was right when he graduated college. He then briefly explains in the middle of his book how his struggles started because of Clinton and the many other situations the government gave him. Finally, he describes his emotions towards the ending of the book to where it was the ending of his campaign and descriptively stated what the reasons were on why he wanted to become president. He describes his real emotions in the end of the campaign and especially towards the end when he found out the results. After describing how the campaign went, Sanders then starts focusing on explaining what his actions were towards the election and why he wanted to become president. Sanders explains the people that made him overcome everything and put their own opinion with their own experience of the election and how they felt towards it. In the book, Bernie Sanders states the difficulties and positiveness that goes on throughout everything with the overcoming results. He in the book presents a fair argument. Throughout the book, Bernie Sanders language is all over the place because he talks about many things which were gender biased but also political. He has the same equality in both but has more emphasis in political in the book because that is the way of talking. With that being said, with interviewing my peers about Bernie Sanders, I agree with his central arguments because Sanders gave his real emotions and never sugarcoated anything. He was being the real him throughout everything.
Karen Judson, a biology professor at a university in South Dakota, brings awareness to a group of undecided readers in her book Open for a Debate, Animal Testing, by providing insight on animal history, pros and cons, and the animals used for research to help audiences form an opinion on the controversy of animal testing. Not only does she provide insight on the concepts previously mentioned, but she strengthens her information by providing intuition on alternatives to animal testing and how the future of animal testing will be like. Her nonfiction writing brings awareness to a wide range of audiences and gives them the opportunity to form an opinion while utilizing an objective point of view. One important idea that my book shares throughout its context is the pros and cons behind the controversy of medical testing on animals. Author Karen Judson is sure to provide both for and against opinions to provide readers with enough information to develop a stance in such dispute. For example, Judson states, those in favor of animal testing claim that the medical procedures performed benefit not only humans but animals as well. In addition to, the author also focuses on the animals that are particularly used in medical testing. She brings this up to help readers understand why scientists use animals for research in the first place. Judson tells us that an estimate of about 22 million animals are used in medical testing each year in the United States. She explains that the animal most likely to be used is the chimpanzee because they are the closest living non-human relative. The author presents an unbiased argument to her readers with her objective information, letting readers form an opinion of their own. She isn't forcing an opinion upon her audiences, making it a fair argument. She provides for and against arguments as well as providing the opinions of credible sources of each. With having all the information presented, I have been able to form my opinion, which is supporting animal testing. While discussing with my peers, they also said to be for it, because much like me, they would rather have medicine tested on animals rather than on children and the elderly. And although PETA, an animal rights organization, states that the animals are not ours to experiment on, scientists, along with many others, agree that if medical testing has to be done, our best option would have to be to test on animals.